What type and size of a home can you afford based on your budget? This is one of the first conversations that I have with clients, and sometimes it can be difficult for them if their expectations are too high. And conversely, on the other end of things, how much can you sell your home for dependent on the type, size, and other characteristics? Having realistic expectations based on what's actually going on in the market at the point in time that you're buying or selling is so important. And this is often one of the most challenging things for both buyers and sellers, because you just heard about how your friend purchased a property for $50,000 under the asking price 6 months ago, and now you're thinking you can do the exact same thing. But in my real estate market here in the Fraser Valley, things can change on a weekly basis and they can turn quick. And that's why in today's video, I'm gonna go over a variety of different property types and sizes for Langley homes. So let's get right into it. So starting us off, I actually just wanna take a quick peek at what percentage of the listing price different properties in Langley are selling for. So we can see detached homes selling at 97.1%, apartments at 98.1%, and townhomes at 98.4%. I expect that these are actually slightly higher now since these are January numbers and we won't have the February numbers until the beginning of March. But regardless, it shows you that things are still selling slightly under asking, but we're starting to see this potentially shift. However, we'll just have to see. Now, how about the actual prices for these properties? Now, looking at benchmark prices, we can see that detached homes in Langley are about 1.585 million, apartments just under 600,000, and townhomes right around 850,000. But what if we get just a little bit more granular? So let's take a look at what a 1-bed versus a 2-bed apartment would sell for. So we got to go to the median sales price because benchmark won't work here, unfortunately. So we can see that for a 1-bedroom, we're at 486,000, and a 2-bedroom is at 617,000. Now, some people won't like that, so I'll take a quick peek at the average sales price. It's not going to be significantly different, but you can see 465,000 for a 1-bed and 621,000 for a 2-bed. Now let's pop over to townhomes. Now we don't want a 1-bed. We're going to look at just a 2 or a 3-bed. You know what? We'll even pop in a 4-bed as well. So what we can see here is that a 2-bed at 700, basically 85,000, 3 beds at 891,000, and the 4 beds at just under 980,000. We're gonna go over the medians. Again, they're gonna be pretty close, but just quickly, 777,000, 880,000 for the 3-bed, and 4 beds at just under $1 million, just shy by $100. Now, if we get rid of these, we can take a quick look at detached home prices. Now for this, maybe we'll go back to benchmark. As you already saw, 1.585, but if we go to median, a little bit lower, average a little bit higher. I'm not gonna go into the splits between the different bedrooms, to be honest with you. But now I want to take you through a couple of different property types that actually sold in this past month in the Langley market, so you can see what exactly you'd be looking at. So starting us off, we've got a 1-bed in Langley, specifically in Willoughby. So you can see some pictures here. This is a newer unit, shows quite well. And it's actually larger than a lot of the stuff that's coming out these days. As we can see, it is 742 square feet, which is actually quite a large 1-bed, if you can believe it. Most of the stuff these days is closer to 6, even under that, to be honest with you. So 2019, 5 years old, listed at $499, sold for $497,500. And so we took a quick peek at the pictures, just if you want to take a peek at the floor plan, just so you can see the layout. And so this is an interesting one. They've actually got a den on the far side of the home, which is a nice little bonus, especially for people working from home these days. But for a 5-year-old building, this is definitely one of the nicer 1-beds that you can see. I have a few more lined up here just so you can take a peek. But if you want to see on the bottom end of the sales prices for 1-beds in Langley, what we're going to see here is this is actually an assignment. Now it's just under 600 square feet. Now somebody got an awesome deal here, I'll be completely honest. I believe this listing, yes, started at 475,000. Somebody had to get rid of this one. So somebody wasn't able to close on it and got rid of it for a significant discount so that they didn't lose their deposit or potentially more. Because for a new build at this price point, this is phenomenal, and assignments are not even moving right now. But To take a peek at something else, a little bit older, so 1992 unit, 717 square feet. Let's take a quick peek at the photos. This was the lowest priced one bed unit. Shows quite well, actually, at least. They probably virtually staged it, and that would be why. And that is why staging can be so important, but relatively original condition when you take a look at the inside. Realistically, what you'd be looking for with something like this is just the condition of the building. Is there anything major coming up? Are they well funded and other things of this nature? But shows you what you can kind of get on the lower end of things in Langley. Now, I took out any studios or anything that doesn't actually have a full bedroom, not juniors as well. So basically had to be at least over 500 square feet and have an actual bedroom, just for your information. Moving on, let's take a quick peek at this 2-bed unit. So 900 square feet, and that is actually a good size. A lot of the newer 2-beds, I'm seeing closer to 800 square feet, to be honest with you. But Union Park, one of my favorite buildings in Langley. Absolutely love this one. Tons of great amenities. So listed at $639 and they got it for $630. So pretty much in line with what we've been talking about. So we'll take a quick peek through the photos. So they virtually staged this one as well, but pretty new unit. Shows nicely, pretty standard, to be honest with you. As we take a quick peek through the photos here, nothing too exciting, but as you can see, pretty nice amenities, which in the future will probably add on to your strat expenses. But if you're going to be using them, then it's a fantastic spot to be. Like, definitely one of the nicer gyms that you're going to find in a condo building. Nice recreation area and more. So it's very nice, actually. Playground, outdoor space, I love it. But we'll take a quick look at the floor plan. So your 64 square foot balcony, if you can see this. So bedrooms beside each other. Personally, I like to have them on opposite ends, but it's not necessarily a deal breaker for a lot of people. This is one of the more common layouts, or they're on opposite ends, but nothing too crazy here. Again, just kind of your standard 2-bed. I think as we looked at the prices before, it was saying $640. This one sold for $630, so it's right in that ballpark. Moving right along, we're gonna take a look at your average 3-bed townhome. So as we can see here in Willoughby, around 1,400 square feet. So they typically will range somewhere in the 1,400 to 1,600 square foot range. Some of the newer stuff's closer to 14. Maybe if you're slightly older, 10 years or so, you're gonna get a little bit bigger. So this one's 2018, 6 years old, listed at $859,800, sold for $855, so very close to the asking price. And so let's take a quick look through the photos. Nice little backyard. Oh, and it is a side-by-side, which is actually very nice. So this is gonna be a better unit than a tandem, in my opinion. You get a better layout. You don't have to play the shuffle game with your cars. Cannot stand that whatsoever. But looks nice inside, well kept, still modern, good size, and it's pretty good for 1,400 square feet. I think that's not too bad. I think most people want it just maybe slightly bigger. Sometimes you sacrifice a little bit in the bedroom sizes, but we'll quickly pop back to the floor plan just to see. It's a little bit tough to see it here, but yes, you can see that this 3rd bedroom is quite small. It looks like it's only about 8.5 feet by 7'11". So might be a little tougher to get a bed. You could definitely get a single, maybe a double, but more than likely is gonna turn into an office space or something of that nature. Could also be a children's room, don't get me wrong, but this is the only kind of trade-off I would say that you're generally gonna get. But they do have a rec room downstairs, which is actually really nice, because this can always be used as a spare bedroom as well. Or if you're me, it would probably turn into your office, or it could be a man cave. I mean, there's a lot of ways to go about this, but there you have it. There is a 3-bed townhome. We're not gonna look at the 2-bed townhomes. It's not as popular of a product. A lot of people make the jump from the 2-bed condo to the 3-bed townhome, unless they can't afford it, but I digress. Let's move on to detached homes. So we got a couple of different examples here. Number 1, we have this one listed at basically 1.5 million, sold for 1.46, built in 1995, 2,600 square feet. And what else can we see here? 5 bedrooms, Does it have a suite? It does not look like it, but let's take a peek above main. No, it is a 2-story, so there is no basement suite here. General rule of thumb, again, it's not a perfect science, but a lot of the time what I'll see is if there is a suite, you're gonna see somewhere between 100, sometimes 150,000, depends if it's a 1-bed suite, 2-bed suite, things of that nature, but usually get that bump up in price due to the fact that not only can the buyer afford more, but it's going to offset a good chunk of their mortgage. So nice backyard, hot tub. Looks like the kitchen has definitely been renovated, so they've done some nice work inside. House shows very well. These are definitely the properties that are moving quicker. People aren't so quick to act on the ones that need a little bit of love. So there is some opportunity there for sure, but this is where I'm seeing people jump right now. And realistically, in almost all markets, the homes that show the best are going to move the quickest. So still an old shower there. It doesn't look like they did too much updating in the washroom. And lastly, I just want to take a quick peek at the size of the lot. So 9,300 square foot lot. This is in Brookswood, so Brookswood is known for having larger lots. So that makes sense there. And we'll take a quick peek at our other guy here. So Langley City. Langley City does typically come at a little bit of a discount in comparison to some of the other communities across Langley, for instance, Walnut Grove, Fort Langley, and Willoughby for the most part as well. And a lot of the Willoughby homes are newer, but this one looks like it may come with a basement suite or not. Actually, we'll take a quick peek. It does not appear to come with a basement suite. Just says it has a basement here, but let's take a peek into the photos. So nicely renovated kitchen once again. As I said, these are the ones that are moving. Wow, they've done a really nice job in here. Show as well. Didn't take a peek at the age of the home, but you get the idea. 1979, so it has been nicely renovated, and the lot size is about 7,400. So these are definitely some of the older properties. Newer lot sizes we're seeing closer to 3,000 to 4,000. We're seeing these lots get subdivided into multiple, and with this new density and zoning that is coming, it will be interesting to see how that goes, but I digress. That's not the purpose of this video. So let's continue to move along. And then we just have a couple of other examples here for just a slightly higher price point. I believe these are the ones with the basement suites. So as I kind of mentioned, even just a quick peek, 155 and 1.6. And if we go back to the other one, 1.46, 1.4. So that's pretty close to what I said with the 100 to 150,000 when you're having the basement suite in the home. So this one's Willoughby, as I mentioned. So we got 2004, so it is a little bit newer. Has a basement suite, and what does this one have? 6 beds, 5 baths. So it's got a legal 2-bed, 2-bath suite. So that's gonna add some additional value in there. But as you can see, 4,500 square foot lot. So some of these newer ones are on smaller lots, and that's where you're gonna get some of your trade-off. But nice driveway. Hasn't been updated nearly as much as the other ones, but the suite is the big thing here. Nicely maintained, but obviously not quite as modern by any means. Looks to be staged relatively nicely, so the property seems to show well. Now I just want to take a quick peek. It sold, listed at 1.6. Sold for 1.55, and if anything, the detached market has been slightly softer than the rest. Townhomes definitely flying, and condos dependent on what it is, but we're definitely seeing more activity in the detached market as of late. Now let's take a look at our other one. So back to Brookswood. Again, in Brookswood, you're gonna get larger lot sizes, so over 10,000 square feet. Listed at 1.55 and actually sold for 1.6. So I would be curious to see if they had an offer date or not. It is something that we're starting to see come back into the market, but not crazy over the asking price. Again, this one, basement entry home, it does say basement entry, and it appears that it does have a kitchen in the basement, so 2 kitchens, so it does have a suite. And so let's take a quick peek. Actually, before we get into the photos, 1974, so it is older at 50 years old, but nice lot size, and then almost 3,000 square feet, which is pretty good. So it mentions that it is a legal suite, which again is a nice little bonus, although there are tons of unauthorized suites out there. The majority of them, to be honest with you, especially in Surrey and Langley, but that is a topic for another video. So this one has been nicely renovated and updated. As you can see, flooring, kitchen, looks like they've done a nice job in the kitchen relatively recently by the looks of it. So shows well. Obviously that is a big reason why it sold so quick. Seems that they have updated a lot of the home, maybe not necessarily the washrooms, or they have part of it, but not the shower. I always love seeing these showers and these somewhat modern washrooms because it just kind of looks funny, but I digress. And I think we are in the suite now, it appears. And so decent space down here. That looks like the deck to the back. And they have a pool. I didn't realize that they have a pool as well. So pros and cons to pools, of course, it's all preference, more maintenance, more upkeep, and can lead to higher expenses, of course, but to each their own. And so there you have it. There is the detached with the basement suite. And then lastly, I got one example for you of more of a acreage style property. So this one's on just under 2 acres, about 1 3/4. And so what we can see here is that 1.62 acres, so pretty close. Got a big shop on it. The home is 2,190 square feet, 4 bed, 3 bath. The workshop's got 200 amps. And what else do they have on the property? That is a massive shop, as you can see. So that's the shop right there. That is obviously the big attraction to this one. Almost 1,000 square feet, just under 900 actually, but as you can see. And so you got some nice privacy, gazebo, nice big yard, not too renovated inside to be honest with you. We'll take a peek at the age after, as I didn't get to that, but little bit of updates in the kitchen, not recently by any means, but at some point in time, but it does look well maintained, but it's definitely showing its age a little bit. But as I said, the reason, or one of the big reasons, is obviously the land, and the shop is going to be a big attraction with this one as well. And so I'm curious to see how much of the land is actually usable. I guess they don't have pictures inside the shop, unfortunately, but tons of parking, and it's a 1970 build. Listed at 2.1, sold for $2,050,000, rancher style home. So works for someone who's elderly or with an elderly family member living with them due to the lack of stairs. So there you have it. Those are the examples from Langley in today's video. So that should give you a pretty good representation of the average price points across the different property types within Langley. Of course, those can vary a little bit depending on several factors. For instance, in an apartment building, the age, the size, how many parking spaces. And in a townhome, is it tandem? Is it side by side? What's the age? What's the size? And so much more. And for a detached property, don't even get me started. But that should give you some sort of a baseline to work off of for what you're able to afford. And I think these properties also gave you a pretty good representation of what's happening with prices, as most of the time you're going to be pretty close to asking price. We even saw a couple of them be over, and then some others that had a little bit of negotiation room, but nothing crazy. And so after watching today's video, if you are considering making the move to Langley, looking to buy, or if you're already in Langley looking to sell, or any of the surrounding cities for that matter, or you just want to chat about real estate, you can scroll down and hit the first link in the description to book a call with me at a time that works best for you. By doing so, we can further discuss your wants and needs, create a game plan for you, and figure out what's going to best work for you. Because keep in mind, this video is just a very brief overview, and depending on when you watch it, things could change, potentially even drastically. But if you did enjoy this video and you got any value out of it, all I ask is that you hit the thumbs up button if you'd like to see me make more of them in the future. If you do have any questions or comments, leave them down below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Before you head out of here, make sure you check out another video. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.